Most messy books don't start in QuickBooks Online, they start before it. Before you even begin using QuickBooks Online, you need to stop and think about how your business actually operates. I've worked on cleanup projects where hundreds of transactions couldn't be traced back to a source account, not because anything was missing, but because there was no workflow in place. Transactions were entered multiple ways, accounts were mixed together, and nothing tied out. And that's exactly how businesses end up needing cleanup in the first place. If you don't define your workflow first, you're not setting up a system. You're just recording transactions without structure. Let me walk you through a few key things you need to figure out before you even start. Let's start with your accounts. Do you have checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, lines of credit, or loans? And more importantly, how are these going to be recorded? Are you connecting them to QuickBooks so transactions flow in through the bank feed? Or are you manually entering everything? Because not all accounts, like loans or certain lines of credit, will connect. So you need a clear plan for how each account will be handled. No matter how transactions get into QuickBooks Online, they should always be supported by a source document, like a receipt, invoice, or statement. If you can't trace a transaction back to documentation, you're not recording data, you're guessing. This is where a lot of errors start. Who's actually handling the books? If transactions are being manually entered and then added again from the bank feed instead of matched, you're duplicating income and expenses. That throws everything off. You also need to decide who's reviewing transactions, who's reconciling accounts each month. And even though QuickBooks promotes automation and AI, this is not something you want running on autopilot. For example, if you wrote 2 checks for $350, but only one has cleared the bank, you need to make sure you're matching the correct one. That requires human review. As your business grows, your workflow needs to evolve with it. What works now might not work later. Let's say you're placing online orders through Walmart. You might start by manually entering transactions and attaching receipts, but Walmart often places a temporary hold that's higher than the final charge. Now your numbers don't match when you go to reconcile, so you have to decide. Do you continue entering transactions manually and adjust later, or wait for the final charge to hit your bank feed, then record it and attach the receipt? Neither approach is wrong, but inconsistency is. Here's why all of this actually matters. If you don't define your workflow up front or update it as things change, you end up with inconsistent records. And when that goes on for months or years, you're not just fixing a few errors, you're paying for a full cleanup. And by that point, you're not maintaining your books, you're rebuilding them. This is exactly where I come in. As a professional bookkeeper, I can tell you, most cleanup projects aren't caused by bad software. They're caused by a lack of structure from the beginning. QuickBooks works best when it reflects the system, not when it's trying to create one. If your books feel messy or you're not sure your workflow is set up correctly, this is exactly what I help with, cleaning things up and putting a system in place so it stays that way. I'll leave a link below if you'd like to schedule a consultation.